Hello, friends. Jennifer Pearson here, Thistle Gypsy, and another little oracle deck has sneaked into my life. So I don't even recall. Oh, yes, I do recall. So, gosh, I probably shouldn't say this, but I don't think she watches my channel. But I was looking for a gift for a friend's daughter, and mother was suggesting something um, raven themed. And so I went online and was looking at various things, and found this, the Raven's Wand Oracle. And so, yeah, I got it for my friend's daughter, and I got it for myself because the art is wonderful. This is actually based on a series of novels that may only be available on Kindle or in some electronic format. I couldn't find them in regular book form, if I'm recalling correctly, on Amazon. So I don't know. But it says in the guidebook, and the other people who have reviewed this have noted that it's by no means a requirement that you read the books or have any familiarity with the books. There's a little guidebook. So this, at first I was like, how does this come out of here when I got it? I thought, do you push on it? What do you do? But it is a little flip, but it's a pretty snug and well-made fit on the little flip thing here. It is magnetic, but not super strong. But so it opens like this, and then I have the book on the front, and then you get the cards. And I'm not sure. I think the cards in the guidebook are alphabetical. A, so AM, yeah, it's alphabetical. What I ended up doing is I played with this deck, and the art is, again, it's the art drags me in. I did question whether I needed another deck that seemed on the face of it to be very personality oriented. In other words, it's a series of characters. But this guidebook is it's a good guidebook, and it's not really about, it sets the scene. It's like the characters set the scene, but they're not necessarily what the cards are about. So I'll read you a little bit. We'll pull a card or something toward the end. There's what is said on each is relatively brief, but it's pithy enough that you get the gist of the cards. You've got the keywords, which are also, I believe, on the cards. Yeah. And so I think it's going to be a relatively easy reader. Exactly what I'll use it for, I don't know. This would be a great deck for young people, as you will see. But I'm loving it too, and some of the other people the few people who have done reviews of it thus far, have also loved it. There's a couple of spreads in the back. I confess they don't knock my socks off, but they're there. This is a 2019 deck, and it says that there is no artist credited, so I'm guessing that artist and author are the same. And if not, shame on them, because it's a fantastic, the art is fantastic, but the guidebook is also good, and the meanings of the cards. So if this is all Stephen Hutton, then kudos, Stephen Hutton, you are amazing. So it says, I began writing and illustrating the Dark Raven Chronicles some years ago, starting with the novel Raven's Wand, named for a venerable wand as black as raven feathers, hence the reference to the dark and charismatic bird. Set in 19th century Victorian Britain, the story centers on this mysterious wand and Valonia, its keeper. Valonia is a sage-old witch who governs her idyllic coven Wildwood in the hills of northern England, hidden from their enemies, the Illuminata knighthood. The series enabled me to paint witchcraft in its best light, as wise yet humble and profound yet practical. It is now my privilege to share Valonia's wisdom with you in the form of this oracle deck. I believe that knowledge should be open and accessible, and so all are invited to find guidance here, whether they're familiar with the books or not. For those who seek more, the novel Raven's Wand is easy to find, and then it gives a website. So when it says painted, I think he means in writing. It says all rights reserved. The illustrations, cover design, and contents are protected by copyright. But the copyright is under US Game Systems, not under the author himself. So to that, I don't know. In any case, let's look at the cards. And what I did was I went through them and looked at them a couple of different ways. And what I decided to do was to order them according to the age. So most of these cards are female. I think there's four. I think there's 4 that are masculine. 5 that are masculine. And they go up through age ranges, and that's something I really liked about this. So I kind of am going to present them according to the age of the figure on the card. So here we have Taking to Heart, Sweet Temptation, and then so even some of the little girl cards have some very serious meanings. And you can see a volcano in the background, and she's surrounded by wolves. And she's got that red cape. If my webcam would focus, there we go. Cute, cute dragon, cute little girl, farewell. Time's Arrow. Very cute crystal ball. She is looking to the future for the froggy. I read in the book. I'm not finished reading the book, but I have been reading the book. Walk with Wings, and so she's walking with the bees. There's lots of, I believe that's teasel in the background. There's lots of teasel in this deck. And I can't remember the name of the other flower that's in here. I don't know. Daisy and Dandelion. So this is actually a card just about playfulness. Nature of the Beast. So it's that stuff in the back that I'm not remembering the name of. And it's just bugging the heck out of me. But anyway, Nature of the Beast. There is very little racial variety. So there is that. But there is some. This little girl, and there's one more, I think. Piercing the Mist. A beautiful card. And this is supposed to be about her sorrow over the death of the little kitten that is there. And so Piercing the Mist is piercing the mist of her grief, and also kind of piercing the mist of death in recognizing that the kitten is still there with her. Commemoration. Song of the Sea. You know, and what an unusual card to include. You know, we tend to have decks that are sea-based, but not regular decks that have a card that represents the creatures of the ocean or connection with the ocean. Taste before judging. And I haven't read the meaning of this, but what a weird and fantastic card. Since those hay things, or I don't know if they're wheat shucks, piles of wheat that's been gathered, or hay, but anyway, they look like they're alive. They do look alive. The gift. So the little griffin or whatever is presenting a feather, but you can easily see the trust of the mother as being a gift. Whoops, and so much. So you're seeing we're getting into a little older girls here. Ebb and flow. I like the introduction of a variety of animals and creatures too, with that red panda and this strange river dragon creature. Release. And that is the release of a bunch of cats. So this is one of the cards that really has a part of a story behind it, almost more than some of the others. Strength renewed. I have not read about this one yet. I'm curious, but the strength seems to be that sword. And these things here appear in at least one other card. Mistakes teach us. Yep, I'm digging the artwork. And not in a way, it's just interesting to me how some artwork that is really beautiful, just doesn't work for me. Thank heaven some beautiful artwork does work for me for reading. This is the Raven's Wand, is also on the cover of the book. There's a little mythology associated with the story, and thus with the cards to some extent, and that is that the world is created by two dragons, by the dreaming of two dragons. And it's the holly dragon, so you can see that. Her hair is kind of creating the holly dragon there. And then the oak dragon, and so the oak dragon is down here. So she is, it looks like, protected or surrounded by the holly dragon and the oak dragon, in any case. A moment. Gorgeous card there. I need my entire life to be a moment, like this series of just piecing out. The power of words, and we have spiders. So I have to confess, this card triggers my arachnophobia. I will take it for what it is, but I haven't read the meaning of this one yet, but as I said, this one triggers my arachnophobia. The call of longing. So now we're getting up there towards women who are maybe into their early 20s, right? Call of longing. A rare bloom. You see the dragon figures here. And she seems to have an eye patch, and there's fruit up there. So there's, she's got the seedling in her hand, and a wand, of course. So just a lot going on in that card. Destroying angel. So this card had an interesting story to go with it. But I'm sure all of the figures that are going on in here, you'd have to read the book to completely get. Spread your wings. So really another sea association there with the albatross. And I think we're getting up in age there, mid-20s, early 30s. Family matters. Black Wands Redemption. So one thing that doesn't get explained is like, what are these little creatures here? You see, she's got like little ghosty kinds of creatures peeking out there. In any case, there she is. Stepping away. So you've got a bit of an outrageous stag back there, but she is stepping away. Even though her cape is still kind of entangled and not quite wanting to leave with her. There she is. Old ghosts. So you've got those mossy rocks, almost tooth-like. And it looks like something stuck in the tree. And if I recall correctly, this is like things that are stuck in your memory that you can't let go and aren't quite letting you move forward. Winter's Throne. And so there's where those creatures come in, like they were in stone on the other card, the card with the sword, Strength Renewed or whatever. Are there little creatures? It looks like there's little, yep, there's those little griffins in there. So there it is. More fox and owl and raven. Maybe a raven and a crow. There seems to be a size difference there. So these as I was looking actually at this card, it was I'm starting to think about this being similar to my Vintage Wisdom deck. It's actually completely different, but it's starting to give me that feel to it for some reason. Okay, needs before wants. So here we have a snake, and it looks like you've got essential oils and crystals. So this seems to be the healing card. The cute little birds and bunnies and badgers. Changing Faces, and this card is just purely gorgeous. It also has a worthwhile meaning, but it is just extremely gorgeous also in its black and whiteness and the level of imagination. It's really pretty cool. Dreaming Days. It's interesting that the more mature, some of them, not all of them, see I've still got quite a few cards left, are represented by animals. More mature people, figures, whatever, characters. So you could see, if my webcam would focus, like the kitty's eyes are closed, the little griffin thingy is sleeping, and yep, she looks like she's got an herb book that she's looking at. And yes, Dreaming Days. Eternal Flame. So this is easily to me recognizable as the whole notion there, where the woman would wait for her man to come home in his ship that has been out. I can't remember what they call them. They call them a certain kind of widow, I think. In any case, that's not what this is. She's actually waiting for for the last dragon or something. So, and this is kind of her purpose, her job. So it's holding the flame and for some form of progress, despite, things kind of eroding, is sort of holding flame for a purpose that you have. Queen of Hearts. So this is supposed to be a card of sacrifice. So you can see how she has sacrificed herself, and there's not enough explanation on this card as far as I'm concerned. It's just a really weird card. Not bad weird, but would have been worthy of more explanation about the choices and the snake and stuff like that. And it's not negative because if you see there's flowers coming up. So maybe it's supposed to be, you know, in a barren land, she is creating life in a barren land with both the flower and the snake. So Wild at Heart, what a cool card. And now we're getting into women who are, you know, like I could imagine her to be a well-preserved 40. And this standing tall, you know, so again, I can see this as being the 40s. Same thing here, maybe getting up to 50, 55. And again, this looks like somebody that could be in her late 40s, early 50s. And then we have an ordinary oldish woman, maybe mid-50s, give and take. But she's not, but that's kind of the end of that. I mean, we don't get into true older cronehood, which tends to be very much avoided in tarot decks, which is why getting the Weaver's Oracle, even though not all of the figures in there are of an older age, getting that as an older woman almost seems vital. Okay, so now we're into the masculine, the cards that are a little bit more masculine. So I have to say this has to be one of my favorite cards. I mean, there's the gypsy wagon, even the winter, all of I love the little dragon here on the axe. I don't know. I really like it. So there's that. Here is a masculine fox. All of the masculine figures, I believe, in this deck are animals. So what does that say? I'm not sure. In some ways, it doesn't seem quite fair to men to only, or the masculine energy to only be represented by animals. But here it is. And so this is a very rich image. This is another favorite. I just love all the little creatures, and it's like, for me, the right level of clutter and things in the window, and it just looks like such a great place to hang out. Unity. So you actually have a variety of animals kind of coming out of him. So I guess the stag in some way represents the forest or unity. And these are all of the different things being protected therein, maybe. I don't know. I haven't read the meaning of this card yet. Night Watch. So he has 2 children that he is watching over, apparently getting from point A to point B. And he has heard or seen there's that light in the distance, and that's supposed to be what's got him on guard. So there we go. And this card is actually a warning about being careful before you pull your sword about whether something that's approaching is a friend or a foe. And Oak Endures. So here's an outright aggressive card. A card of, you know, kind of giving one permission to be defensive. So let's see how they shuffle. I haven't shuffled them. I almost did the other night. And I thought, no, I've ordered them. I've ordered them a specific way for the review. I can't play with them further until I do a review. So we're just going to pull a card or two just to see, just so I can read from the guidebook for you, and you can get a feel for the meanings. And there are reversed meanings. It's 44 cards. I don't think I mentioned that to begin with. So not as deep and rich a deck as I usually like, but I've resigned myself to the whole 44 thing. I have. And I have a number now of 44 card decks that I really like. So let's just do this. And I'm going to go with this one. And maybe I'll do this one also. All right, so the first one we have is the gift. So there you go. There's the card. So let me see. The. And they actually, in their alphabetizing, they include the and so I have to go to the T's. And this is the Call of Longings. And they're right next to each other. All right, so the gift. As children, we long to grow up, while as adults, we sometimes ask ourselves, oops, I lost my way. I glanced up and I lost my way. Yeah. While as adults, we sometimes ask ourselves where the magic of childhood vanished to. But we can have both, childlike wonder and adult wisdom. Sarah St. Anthony's gift from the young Grifflet is a beautiful feather. Let it remind you that although the years roll on, so too do the wonders. All you need to do is remember how to see them, just as we did as children. I think I need this message. I think this is a really good message for me right now. So that's what it's referring to there. Yeah, my life is getting a little too mundane. So all you need to do is remember how to see them, just as we did as children. If you can appreciate the sound of rain tapping against glass, or be captivated by birdsong, enough to stop whatever you're doing, then you reconnect with the magic of the ordinary. So for the reversed it says, those distant peaks now point to you. So we do have distant peaks. Those distant peaks now point to you. Do they stir wonder at what might lay over the hills? Perhaps the apples suggest the fruits that wonder and curiosity can bring you when you allow them to influence your path. Yeah, I think I really needed this. It's telling me to take a trip to someplace natural. All right, the Call of Longing. I probably need this too because I do not have any Call of Longing. I have no Call of Longing, and so I need a card to tell me that I need to get the heck out of here. The Call of Longing. Sorry, definitely allergy voice, big time. So the Call of Longing is just on the next page here. So it says, witches make sure to never be seen flying and seldom soar too high. Ruthie Comfort sits on her lightning staff. That's what they call their brooms. They call them lightning staffs. And watches the swallows easily achieve greater heights than her. So here she is, longing for the same powers as the swallows. I'm guessing that that's where we're headed here. The clouds are darkening, and if she wants to ascend even higher, There will be risks involved. She longs to follow the brave little birds, but longing can lead us to places we shouldn't attempt to go, such as into those brooding clouds. Or we might weather the storm and break through it only to find what lies beyond is disappointing. The grass is certainly not greener at all. So what an interesting message. So maybe I'm better off without any longing. What an interesting message to go, because it's kind of a contradiction of this. Although I can see how this applies to my life in a different sort of way. It doesn't have to do with heights, but there are some things that I feel drawn to that I think are probably better off left alone, like the whole adopting thing. I'm sort of revving that back up. I feel that happening, and it's like, all right, so I thought I kind of resolved that whole thing, and I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's a longing that should not be fully acted on, and thankfully there are things in place. I know I wouldn't pass a home inspection, etc. So there's really no danger of that longing going anywhere. And I use cards frequently to put not longing in check. I don't really have longing, I have ideas, and to put them in check to remind me that though there's a silver lining here, there are also the dark clouds to begin with, and whether, what's worthwhile, trying to decide what's worthwhile. But it can be saying that these can be related, because what I've started to do with that whole adoption longing thing is I've started to think, why am I wanting to connect with children? Why? I've just been letting it drift in my head. I haven't drawn cards on it or anything. And it can be exactly this that I need to engage my own sense of a love of the world, a wonder with the world, that I'm just too housebound. Essentially, I'm just too housebound. And I need to remedy that situation, and that will then start to ease this other. But let's look at the reversed meaning for the call of longing. It says, Ruthie might seem inverted now, but the clouds look much the same. I'm not sure I understood that. I'll read it again, but I'm not sure that was the greatest way to communicate what was ever trying to be said here. Ruthie might seem inverted now. Oh, I see. Is if it's reversed. Okay, so if we look at her reversed. All right. Ruthie might seem inverted now, but the clouds look much the same. Okay, the clouds haven't changed even though she's upside down. The background situation remains the same. Perception depends on your viewpoint, and as such, events, people, and places seldom have a fixed meaning, but instead many interpretations. Come to your own conclusions and don't be pressured into adopting the verdicts of others. So interesting. I would have, from their start where they say the background is the same, even though she's inverted, I would have taken the opposite out of that reversal and what it started to say, which is that the conditions are not going to change regardless of how you look at it. The conditions are not, and the conditions and the challenges are not going to change. But in any case, that should give you some idea of the sorts of messages these cards give and the upright and reversed meanings. I'm really happy with it. It's, I would say, one of my happier recent purchases. But I've had some happy recent purchases. I like the Wolf Song cards. This I think can be more generally used than the Wolf Song cards, and I also liked the Sacred Path Oracle, the Jamie Sams Oracle as well. But Yep. I realized recently, I'm just, I'm rambling now, so you can, and maybe I should save this rambling for a different video, so I will. This is just a review. I'm letting it go. Ravenswand Oracle. I don't know why more people haven't grabbed this up yet. Really cool deck. It's kind of got a lot of things going for it. So check it out. All right, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.